Hello and welcome back to Icebane Gaming's Month of Valentine's. Every hole is a goal spectacular. Last episode we had a nice spicy meal and indoctrinated into the Horatio Empire. This episode, can we keep up the charade? Without further ado, let's get started. The feeling passes. I open my eyes again. I notice there's a blinking icon flashing on the holoscreen. It expands when I press it until it covers half the screen. Breakfast, mess hall. Classes, academy, auditorium 3, lunch, mess hall, extra curriculars, specific. Dinner, mess hall, advanced classes, specific. There's my schedule for the day. Seems really lackluster for an educational system, but hey, be boring to do it like an actual education system. Breakfast is grayed out. Classes is bolded. Looks like I'm late on my first day of class. I bolt out the door and run like my life depends on it. It does. Sorry I'm late. Grand Headmaster. You are late indeed, first level initiate. It seems that the redesign of the station altered it enough that fresh initiates do not find their corresponding plans in their memories. Still, the last of your classmates arrived 10 minutes ago. Have a seat. In the future, make sure that you do arrive on time, Initiate Pizzazz F21. I scurry to my seat in the back. Against my better judgment, my ears and cheeks have turned a very nice shade of pink. I can hear my classmates snicker. I sink into the deep comfort of the chair and try to ignore the burning sensation my empty stomach adds. It groans to the chorus. This is just great. Eternus PO2 gestures to the holoscreen behind him. Moving on. Over the next 3 weeks, you will undergo an accelerated program. You would better not miss a class. Subjects covered will be, among others... He starts listing off subjects in rapid-fire monotone that is hard to follow. I make out a few words. History of Horatio in the last 100 years, astrocartography, negotiation, etiquette, startup, imperialism, dance, valeting, personal grooming, speechcraft, xenobiology, dealing with lasers, Horatiology, cooking, reception protocol, fencing, Horatio resources, perfumes, genomic interface, hand-to-hand combat, social hygiene, sublight navigation, logistics, glorynomics, cloning 101, personal disruption, surveillance, scene of politics, imperial maintenance, fleet maneuvers, spacecraft care 101, aerobatics, and guns. For a start. I frown. This sure sounds like an eclectic mix. I have a feeling that simply repeating this list will take up most of the 3 weeks at our disposal. We will begin with an all-time favorite, personal grooming. My classmates let out appreciative ahs and approving nods at this subject choice. Next up is a very detailed anatomical representation of Horatio. Eternitus PO2 begins. Melodious chimes sound off in the distance. Heads perk up and look around. Ah, time flies when we're having fun. I did not have fun. I did my best to pay attention, or I loved it. Well, that one would be probably a mediocre one. This one would get me caught. I loved it. Truly, there would be so much more to say. There is a lot more course material. We'll get to some of it later, but for now, it is time for you to get lunch. This afternoon, you will be assigned your first extracurricular activities. It will be assigned to you based on personal affinities. I will see you all. He pauses for a dramatic effect. Tomorrow, same place, same time. Do not be late. A passing glance in my directions is all the confirmation I needed. I look away with a detached air and avoid making eye contact. We're back in the mess hall, and it seems the slop is back as well. I sigh. I can't tell I've had it better, because obviously I'm pretty sure that these aren't the fine foods that we're supposed to be enjoying. The faces around me are a mix of resignation and grumpiness, confirming my hunch. Ain't no one liking the grub here. I shuffle along the line with my tray. The same Horatio I saw yesterday hands me a bowl of the same slop. I sigh again. The Horatio lunch person hears it, and his expression changes. Hey, you think this is enjoyable for me? It isn't. I look at him. You wouldn't happen to have anything to make this taste a little better? Anything? He considers this for a moment, then snatches a little spice shaker from the counter and hands it to me. You can always sprinkle this on top. I pour a little of what turns out to be a pungently red powder on my food. I stop, look at my bowl, add a little more, and a little more still. Soon my bowl is covered in a thin layer of red. The lunch person looks bemused. That should be enough, buddy. Okay, thanks. I hand back the spice shaker and go find a seat. I sit on my own would be very Horatio, but I want to sit with other people. Encouraged by what could be, very possibly be, my first conversation, I look to find a seat with other people. I find a table with an empty spot. I then put my tray down and the conversations go quiet, and faces turns towards me. One of them pipes up. Well, if it isn't late pizzazz F21. I realize my mistake, pick up my tray, and go sit on my own. I feel no camaraderie from my classmates. Now that I have made now that I've been made the class dunce. Well, if I was him, I would just double down and make a joke out of it. I'll start some sort of friendship, become the clown. Though, come to think of it, Horatio probably wouldn't be about that. I dip my spork in the bowl and give the new, improved formula a taste. It's actually pretty good. There's a rich taste of, well, something or other, and it just unexpectedly warms up and explodes with flavor. I look up from my bowl, full of gratitude for the Horatio lunch person. I smile at him and give him a thumbs up. He nods at me and cocks an eyebrow. I shovel big spoonfuls of the delicious slop into my face, barely chewing on it, and then the spice hits me. My tongue suddenly becomes very, very hot. It takes me a moment to realize what's happening. By the time I do, my mouth is fully engulfed in what feels like fire. I do my best to choke on my food quietly, fighting back the tears. The Horatio behind the counter is laughing heartily. He did it on purpose. I ignore him. Well, I want to make friends somewhere on this station. It's not too difficult, as my eyes are blurry with tears. I put my tray in the return area and leave the mess hall with all the dignity I can muster. I wander back to my room. I can feel a trail of fire down my throat and into my stomach. I wash my face in the sink and slowly regain some composure. The schedule on my holopad switches from lunch to extracurriculars. A little pop-up menu indicates that I'm having imperial maintenance in the kitchen. I'm not sure what this is about, but I know I don't want to be late to it or to anything ever again. I trot out of my room. I get to the mess hall minutes later. Running was not a good idea. My stomach is vehemently protesting as I look around for, well, I'm guessing the rest of the class. The other students assigned here, I'm not sure how things work. The place is now entirely deserted, which feels strange. Nobody but me. So I walk out and look at the holopad and check my schedule, and I hear a call. Ah, they assigned you? What a coincidence. I turn around. It's the lunch person who tricked me. He's waving me over from behind the counter. Come over here. Imperial maintenance, huh? You must have imperially pissed someone off. I get around the counter and into the kitchen. This place is a mess. I stand in front of him, my face a carefully composed mask. The fact that my food is still churning in my stomach doesn't help me. I feel queasy. Oh, come on, don't be like that. It was just a harmless prank. I couldn't know you were already on someone's shit list. I look at him, frowning. Something's not right in my belly. It feels like it's trying to crawl back up. Oh, you probably didn't know. Well, Imperial maintenance is basically the janitorial duties are all yours. Nobody wants to push them up for a living, so it's dished out as a punishment. Looks like you and me are on cleaning duty today. I'm about to speak up when I feel a sudden urge to retch overpowers me. I vomit onto the floor. And this is where you start. I hate the feeling, but I have to say I'm immediately relieved. Red firegrass will do that to you when you put too much. I did kind of set you up for it. Sorry? He hands me a dishcloth, which I wipe my mouth with. I'm Darien F19, by the way. Second level initiate Megriz Darien F19. So he's like 2 generations before me. Pizzazz. First level initiate Megriz Pizzazz F21. His hand is still open. His hand is still open, extended towards me. He is looking intently at me. I shake his hand. I place my hand into his and squeeze, feeling like it's the appropriate thing to do after introductions. He looks taken aback. His hand is warm and limp in my clammy fingers. The experience is deeply uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what I was trying to do here. We let go. I grab a mop and bucket and set about cleaning my mess. Darien F19 surreptitiously snatches the dishcloth from the countertop I've left it on. He does his best to look like he's cleaning, but after a couple glances at him, it's clear that he's just puttering about. From time to time, he looks back to see how I'm getting on. Once I'm more or less done, he turns towards me. Yep, I think we're pretty much done here. What do you think? What do you mean? Well, I don't know about you, but I've got places to be. Better things to do than pushing a mop around. We could just call it a day and go about our lives. How does that sound? We won't get caught? I'm not exactly popular right now. He laughs. Having had this laugh directed at me just minutes ago, I'm not sure how to take it. Right, you're on the shit list. Let me show you how things work around here. He walks up to a wall-mounted holopad and starts typing around, flicking windows open until he finds what he's looking for. Ah, there, see? Imperial Maintenance Kitchen. Our names. That's basically the low-level schedule. Well, if you put your hand on the biometric scanner here, then click Edit, you can, you can just remove us from this. Extracurricular, my smooth ass. I had to admit that I'm impressed. And that really works? I gotta tell you something you may have not realized yet. The security features are here to protect the Empire from its indesirables. They aren't exactly geared to protect it from insiders who might have different inclinations. He turns to me. So, what do you say? Are we done here? I consider my options. Well, if I say we're done, I get on his good side. could say I need to prove this, that I can do this right, but yeah. It's way too risky. It's going to obviously get me on his shit list. So, I think I'm just gonna go with him. Rebel without a cause. Just got the Steam achievement. It doesn't seem to appear on my OBS, but whatever. You know what? I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be learning here, but you said it. I'm not going to stay here and push a mop around. Right on. He presses a few buttons on the holopad, and a moment later turns back to me. Our work here is done. Let's go. He moves to leave, and I follow. He notices he's still carrying a dishcloth with him, which I do find pretty gross. This should buy us a couple of hours. Nobody will check in on us because, he leans conspirationally, they all think they've got better things to do, too. We exit the same way we came in, through the mess hall. Darian F-19 is walking a couple of steps ahead of me, and seeing as I personally don't have any destination in mind, I'm tagging along. He notices, stops, and turns around. Listen, friend, I've got places to go, people to be. Let's keep this casual, shan't we? Oh. By the time I processed that I was being dismissed, he was around the corner, right at the corner of the hallway, and disappeared. Well, I don't really want to stalk him. I go explore on my own, I guess. I decide that, well, if he's not going to get, he's got things to do, I'll just have to find my own fun. I start walking in another direction, aimlessly for sure, as I have no idea where most of these hallways lead. Nevertheless, I try to maintain the arrogant outward attitude of every me. After a few minutes of aimlessly wandering around, my steps take me back to the concourse. It is almost empty compared to the first time I saw it. Ugh, hiccups. Still, the murmurs of distant conversation, the echoing footsteps, the light flittering from outside, all of it contributes to giving the place an air of reverence. I try not to gawk as I walk around. The freely flowing trees, the fountains and water pieces with running water, all of this contributes to paint a picture of an empire built on a boundless pride. We are, I'm pretty sure of, one small mistake away from a tragic accident here. If the glass ceiling were to shatter, boundless arrogance or endless optimism, probably a little of both. I hear footsteps rapidly approaching and startle as if I was caught doing something illegal. Thought crimes. Thankfully, nobody can hear what's going on in my head, can they? I look discreetly over my shoulder and recognize Extras B12, the Master Sergeant guy. He is in an agitated conversation with, I think that it was Turgis F07, the lab tech. I hear some of their exchange as they get closer. What do you mean? You don't know where he is? I am his instructor, same as you. I'm not here to track brothers at your convenience. If you of all his siblings hadn't kept on piling sanctions on him to build character, he might have been more assiduous in his attendance. Extras B12 comes to an abrupt stop a couple meters away from me and turns to face Turgis F07, practically shouting in his face. This is important. Well, I'm sorry I can't help you. Not only is this not my expertise, but I've got prior engagements. I don't get it. It's blowing ships up and showing Aternus PO2 your worth. He was lucky to be selected for fleet maneuvers in the first place. Who wouldn't jump at the chance? Looks like he wouldn't. Extras B12 stomps off down the hallway. Turgis FO7 turns around and, in a dignified, rigid posture, he mutters in the general direction of the Sergeant Major, I believe that was. I'm just gonna press back. Master Sergeant. Completely butchered it. Whatever. I'm almost late for my picnic now. Now, where was the greenhouse? Ah, this way. He walks away at a leisurely pace. Fleet maneuvers. Sounds like an advanced class. It could be a way to blow things up, take the pressure off, or a way to try to fit in, show what I'm worth. Or, on the other hand, a picnic. What would I do? Let's see. Let's blow things up and have fun. I need to show what I'm made of. Fleet maneuvers it is. A picnic sounds great. Or greenhouse, I gotta see that. So, do I want to be a botanist? Do I want to just get to the romance? Do I want to show off? Or do I just want to blow things up? Options, people, options. Let's go with a picnic. That sounds a little too good to be true, but experiences aboard the station can't possibly all be harrowing, can they? I jog after Turgis FO7. He turns his head towards me, but doesn't stop. You look familiar. Can I help you? I overheard that you were having a picnic in the greenhouse. I was hoping I might join you. He stops and considers this for a second. He peers at me intently. What did you say your name was? Pizzazz F21. First level initiate. Margariz Pizzazz F21. F21? I'm third rate. Chamberlain Margariz Turgis F07. But among us, the honorifics won't be necessary. Yes, you may tag along. Some games are better with 3 players. You are familiar with the Horatio, are you? What? No. I might need the rules I need a rules refresher, especially if you are playing with the local variants, or if the rules have changed recently. Yes, we are playing with a local variant. It looks like I'll just have to fake my way through the game, just like I do with everything else. Greenhouse picnic, I'm coming. Let's go then, we're already late. He resumes his walk, and I follow. We walk for a good while, past many signs that read greenhouse and point in another direction. I glance at him sideways, and he doesn't seem to worry. Eventually, we get to a quiet area. A sign out of order is placed in front of the door that reads, Greenhouse Access 9. Turgis FO7 steps around and grabs the handle. With a hiss, the door opens. A wave of hot and humid air hits me, accompanied by a strange and fragrant smells. I hear birds calling from somewhere. After you. I step into the greenhouse and into another world. Turgis FO7 steps in and closes the door behind him. On this side, it's barely distinguishable from the thick foliage surrounding us. I look around me in astonishment. Plants, bushes, trees, and vines are everywhere, draping over one another. Towards a canopy I can barely make out. The place is deeply alien, and yet oddly familiar. It feels like being in my clone birth. Your mouth is open. Be careful you don't accidentally swallow a mosquito. A mosquito? Don't worry, there are no mosquitoes here. Try as we might have, though, it was impossible to prevent most insects from cropping up around here and there. The larvae were in the saplings and in the pots, you see. Anyway, we also have an all assortment of wildlife, ranging from small amphibians to birds, with more exotic species coming from all over the Empire. Those who survive, anyway. This way, do watch your step. I could imagine that they would hunt to extinction any species that they find to be ugly, since they value appearance over all else. That's just my personal take on that. He starts walking towards the underbush. I step after him gingerly, careful not to trample on anything or step in anything weird. Is that monkey stuffed animal dung, or do you have predators here? I'd be interested in that. Not necessarily out of fear, but just interest. He chuckles. No, nothing here that would hurt you too much. We are the biggest threat around here. We walk for what feels like a while through the forest. Every once in a while, I catch a glance of a familiar sight, a support pillar here or a window pane there. Otherwise, I am pretty lost. I think we have, in all likelihood, covered a couple of 100 meters. But I am pretty sure that I could never find the exit we came in through ever again. This last thought kind of freaks me out, and I hurry up to catch up with Turgus F07 when he rounds a big tree and suddenly stops. We're here. We arrive at a small clearing, nesting against a stone ridge. That can't be real rock. I realize that off the ridge drops a waterfall. This place is breathtaking. I start smiling, without being able to help myself. Whoa. Yes, I'm quite fond of this place too. Come on, let's introduce you. I snap out of my reverie. Introductions. Turgus F07 walks into the clearing, stepping on a patch of grass. Another Horatio is lounging there, lying back next to the water. I recognize him immediately. Pizzazz F21, allow me to introduce you to Darian F19. I know him. Oh. He sits up a bit and then waves at me. Fancy of you to join us. Turgus F07 sits down, cross-legged, and I follow suit, although it takes me a couple tries to get it right. Darian F19 opens his satchel and starts pulling out various food items in front of him. From it, he starts passing fruit around. I eye the thing suspiciously. It's purple with a curly hard stem and no visible imperfections. I wait for them to dig in. I'm just a bit cautious. I've been burned before by the exact same person. Darian F19 winks at me and takes a bite. Alright then. Juice pours out after my first crunchy bite. It was so incredibly tasty that I feel tears well up in my eyes. A sweet note, followed by immediately by a sour taste that makes my back of my palate tingle. It is my favorite food in the world. I try to speak with a mouthful. This is so good. Where do you get this kind of fruit? Oh, the tree's right here in the station. In another part of the greenhouse. He smirks. They grow on the same goop as you. This dampens my satisfaction a little bit, and then I eat the rest of my fruit in silence. Turgus F07 and Darian F19 seem slightly amused by my reaction. To answer your question though, I didn't pick them myself. I liberated these from the station's pantry. They're reserved for officers and brothers of the station, comparable or superior to that of our dear Turgus F07 here. Liberated, huh? Let's just say they're unlikely to miss any of it, right, Turgus F07? Yes. Their stomach tends to be delicate, since they're used to more imperial nourishment feed. You mean that slop we get in the mess? Indeed. Most of them are so used to eating it that their organs aren't really up for anything different. But on a station where your food regimen is assigned to you, what you eat shows important you are. That is poor grammar, but I'll put it aside since it's a big company. Bound to make mistakes here and there. I'm just gonna repeat that with probably what they're missing. What you eat shows how important you are. So they put on a brave show. In a way, we're sparing them this trial. Here's what I spared from them today. Catch. Darian F-19 hands out a variety of cookies, and what I think is a soft cheese with a mild taste. We top it off with a fizzy drink, and then sit down companionably. And then sit in a companionable silence, idly watching the water stream by. Birds sing in the trees above us. We're 1,000,000 kilometers away from the rest of the station. Want to play a game? We turn towards Darian F-19. Come on, Horatio. Anyone? You know I'm always up for a game. What about you, Pizzazz F-21? I have no idea what this game is about, and I'm not sure I'm up for another bout of faking my way through the day, so it was just so nice to hang out. What should I answer? Sure, let's play. I'll need a rules refresher, though. Sure, let's play. Great. I really hope they'll say enough for me to be able to play it by ear. We gather around Darian F-19, who pulls a deck of cards from the inside of the pocket. An interesting item to have on oneself at all times for sure. He shuffles the deck and with a deft hand and starts dealing the cards face down. Cards back feature elaborate scroll work with the Imperial logo. I wonder where these were liberated from. So, you know how Horatio is about taking as many tricks as possible, counting the points for each figure. Well, the variant we play is based off of a game that is, believe it or not, even more ancient. In this variant, the player with the Emperor of Spades becomes Horatio Prime. He wants to make sure he has the highest number of tricks possible. The other players have to try to make it so that everyone has the exact same number of tricks. It is very difficult, especially because Prime is used to getting the best and leaving the crumbs for the rest of us. But we believe that Darian F-19, you're disgusting, or digressing. Right. It is very difficult for the other players, is what I mean. Okay, I got it. I look at my cards. All of the figures represent Horatio in some costume or another. The very first card in my hand is the Emperor of Spades. Oh, brother. I guess at least my goal is clear. Prime, speak up. That's me. Right. Turgus F-07 and Darian F-19 a glance. Let's go. I'm not sure if I'm very bad or if they're very good, but they make short work of me, ending with an impressive 17 tricks each. You guys are really good. Yep, we've been preparing for a long time. Turgus F-07 looks at his holopad. Ugh. I've got some things to do before lights out. Darian F-19 nods along. Same, let's go. Pizzazz F-21, otherwise you'll be wandering this place for a while. We'll be back to the rat race. Well, back to the rat race is what he said. Alas. What does that even mean anyway? Turgus F-07 considers my question for a moment, then leads us out of the clearing and back into the forest the way we claim. You know what? I don't think I've actually ever even seen a rat. I would guess that to be the case, since they would probably hunt rats to extinction because they'd be considered an ugly race. Come to the hangar bay someday. I'll show you the Calgaros prairie rats that hang around the condensators. You'll love them. I don't think so, dear. We reach the door, which Turgus F-07 opens and closes behind us. I start. Well, that was fun. I turn around. They're walking down a different path and away from me, without as so much as a goodbye. Whatever. I shrug. I'm weirded out, but nonetheless thankful for the opportunity. I make my way home, exhausted. And with that, I'm probably going to call it quits for today. I thank you all for watching. We've had a fun little jog as Horatio, or a Horatio with no memory. This is fairly interesting, and I might come back to it in the future. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We've completed another date, and I'll see you next time.